Hello students and welcome in today's session. Today we are going to learn about the organ specific and tissue specific manifestations. Right? Now in organ specific and tissue specific manifestations we will see that the point of entry of the organism is there from the various parts or openings of the body will affect the particular tissue or the organ, and because of that infection, the particular organs infection will produce particular types of manifestations. Now what is mean by manifestation? Manifestation is nothing but a symptoms, right? So in this point we will see the symptoms are related with the infection of a particular tissue or a particular organ. See in your textbook, organ specific and tissue specific manifestation. Manifestations means symptoms, right? Now the disease causing microbes enter the body through these different means, right? So maybe they will enter in our body through nose, mouth, right? Or any wound is there, then from that wound they will enter in our body. See here, body is actually a very large house for the microorganism. Microorganisms are very small inside. So whenever they will enter in the body, for them our body is a very huge area, huge place. So in that huge place where they will go and live, right? So this is decided by from where they have entered in our body. Body is very large. There are many possible places, organs or tissues where they could go, right? Now see, different species of microbes seems to have evolved to home in on different parts of the body. This selection is connected to their point of entry. If they entered from the air via nose, they are likely go to the lungs. Yes, this is what the microbe generally from where, which point of entry they will enter in our body. Based on that, it is more likely to decide that which organ or which tissue they will infect, right? And based on that tissue or specific organ infection, symptoms will be formed or shown, right? Now these organisms are there, they are again very well evolved, right? Now where in which part of the body they are living. So what is the environment of that tissue or organ is there, to survive in that environment they get evolved very well. For example, see, suppose the microbes entered in our body through food or water, then the food which we eat, that is directly going into the stomach, and as you know that in the stomach very high concentrated HCl is secreted, 2 pH HCl is secreted, right? So in that highly acidic condition, these microbes can survive. How? Because they get evolved to survive in this such highly acidic condition, right? So in this way, the microorganisms which lives in our body, they will get adapted to survive in such conditions, right? So here they will enter in our body through various means. This is seen in the bacteria causing tuberculosis, right? What? They will enter through the nose, right? Through air they will come, enter in the body through nose, and then they will enter into the lungs. And when they will enter into the lungs, they will infect the lungs and cause a disease, tuberculosis. This is given a example, right? If they enter through mouth, right? If they enter through mouth, they can stay in the gut linings like typhoid causing bacteria, or they can go to the liver like the viruses that causes jaundice, right? So here it is said that whenever these microbes will enter in the body through mouth, so as they enter through mouth, they likely go to the guts, right? So either they will cause infection to the gut wall, or they may cause infection to the liver. And based on that, which organ or tissues get infected, based on that disease is given. If it is a gut lining is infected, then typhoid it is said, and if it is a liver infection, then it is said as a jaundice, right? So this is how it is said that which organ is infected, based on that the disease or the symptoms will be seen. See in the next paragraph. This is not always be the case, right? This is not compulsory that the through mouth it is entered, so it will always infect the gut linings or the liver, right? It's not compulsory the only these two organs will be infected. Now take an example of HIV, right? The HIV infection is there that will comes in the body via sexual organ, but this will not be infect only the reproductive system. It will spread to the lymph nodes of all over the body, right? Means point of entry is different and point of infection is different. All over the body they will get spread, and the lymph nodes, all the body lymph nodes will get infected. Means here the infection is all over the body. Next, malaria causing microbes are there. They enter through the mosquito bite, right? Because this malaria causing protozoa is there that is carried by mosquito. Mosquito is a carrier for protozoa, right? So whenever the mosquito bite is there, this protozoa will enter in our body as it is entered into the blood actually, right? So from the blood it will go to the liver and then once again into the red blood cell. So in this way, so wherever they enter, they are not living over there, but they also go into the liver and once again they come back into the blood and causes infection to the RBCs, right? Next example is given that the virus causing Japanese encephalitis. This is the name of a disease. Japanese encephalitis caused by virus, and brain fever. It will similarly enter through a mosquito bite, right? Japanese encephalitis virus or brain fever, they will be get infected in the person's body through mosquito bite, enter in the human body through mosquito bite, and it go on to infect the brain. Here the infecting organ is a brain. Means anyhow if they entered in the body through mosquito bites, means they will enter into the blood and then from the blood they will infect the organ brain. They are not live or remain in the blood itself. So most of the time the point of entry whatever is there, the particular organ or tissues get infected and the disease will occur. But these are some of the examples where the point of entry is the different, but the infecting organ or the tissues are there, they are different, right? So this is what it is given. So both the types of infections we can see that point of entry is there, so there we can see some of the symptoms or the manifestation, or sometimes entry is at one place but the infecting organ is somewhere else. This also we have seen. The examples are given of the AIDS, then it is given of malaria, then Japanese encephalitis, brain fever, right? Then next, signs and symptoms of the disease. Just now we say that some of the organs or tissues get infected, and that infection is majority depend on the point of the entry of the microbes, right? Now once the organ or tissue get infected, then specific symptoms will be seen, right? And these symptoms will help the doctor to diagnose a particular disease. So this is what it is given. Signs and symptoms of a disease will depend on the tissue or organ which the microbes targeted or get infected, right? Whenever the lungs are the target organ, then when the lungs get infected, symptoms will be definitely cough, and breathlessness, because this is what the important function of the lungs will get hindered and breathing problem will be there, right? Cough we will see as a symptom when the lung infection is there. Whenever liver is a target, definitely jaundice we can see, right? Then brain, if whenever is target, then as it is a main organ which controls all the body, we observe headache, vomiting, fits, unconsciousness. These symptoms can be seen, right? So these are some of the symptoms given. Which organ is targeted, then which symptoms likely to be seen, right? So the target tissue or organ and the functions that are carried out by these tissues or organ will be considered to show the symptoms and the signs of the infections. Along with these, as these infections are related with the organ, related with the tissues, along with this, some common effects will also be seen whenever there is a infection. Now these common symptoms are there, that is majoritarily depend on the body's immune system activated in response to infection. If the immune system is good, better, good response will be given, the infection will likely to occur light and less symptoms will be seen. And if the immune system is weak, less response will be given and more symptoms we can see of that disease. An active immune system recruits many cells to the affected tissue to kill off the disease causing microbe. This is what the function of a immune system. Once the infection takes place, then antibodies will be created in large amount to kill the antibody, right? This recruitment process is called as inflammation. This process is there. This is called as the inflammation. So this inflammation we can see as a common effect of an infection, right? As an infection occurs, because of this infection, there are some local effects, right? And what will come in the local effects? Like swelling, pain, and some general effects like a fever. Body temperature will be increased. So these are some of the symptoms which we can see whenever there is a infection. As the infection takes place, the particular symptoms will be seen depend on the target organ, and along with this target organ specific symptoms, some of the common symptoms also be seen, right? In that inflammation is there, local effects are there, swelling, pain and increase in body temperature, that is called as a fever, right? Now below that it is given about the HIV infection, right? Now first of all you should know what is mean by HIV. HIV, human immunodeficiency virus, right? Now this virus is there that will cause a disease called as AIDS, right? AIDS, AIDS means acquired immunodeficiency syndrome, right? Now HIV is a virus which causes AIDS disease, right? Now what happens in the AIDS disease? In this, whatever the immune system is there of human body, that will go on reducing, because our immune system is there, that is depend on the white blood cell, that is the lymphocyte, and this virus majoritarily affects our lymphocyte cell. They damage the lymphocyte cell, and lymphocyte cells function is that produce antibodies. If these cells will get damaged, then how antibodies will be produced, right? So if the antibodies will not produce, then they will not kill the antigen or disease causing microorganism coming in the body, right? Means what? In short, overall, whatever our defense system is there of the body, it will get weakened, right? So HIV just reduce our immune system. and because of this weak immune system, the person is get easily infected by any kind of a disease, vulnerable to any disease, right? So in this case, suppose the person is having AIDS, then that person is no longer able to fight with any minor infections. Take an example that suppose the person is suffering from a common cold, right? So as anyone suffers from the common cold, maybe the person will get cure within 4 days, 5 days, or maximum 1 week, right? Within 1 week the person will be healthy, get rid of the common cold. But in case of the HIV infection, if the person is suffering from the HIV or having AIDS, then in that case this common cold is there. As their lymphocyte cells are less, immunity is weak, antibodies will not be created, this common cold will not be cured at all, right? This common cold will then becomes pneumonia, right? This common cold further becomes an pneumonia, and then person will become serious, and the time will come that person may get dead because of this. So these small diseases are there. Because of that, these person get weak and weak day by day. So the person's body will become home for all different diseases, right? And whatever the protective wall around the body was there, right, natural, because of immunity, that is just get damaged because of this virus, and the person get died at last. See, the same it is given in the textbook. Body can no longer fight off the many minor infections that we face every day. Every small cold can become a pneumonia. Similarly, minor gut infections are there that can produce major diarrhea with blood loss, and ultimately it is these other infections kill the people suffering from HIV/AIDS, right? So one more thing is given, that the severity of disease manifestations, right? It is depend on the number of microbes in the body, right? Means the manifestations means symptoms. How much severe the symptoms will be of any disease, right? This is majorly depend on the number of microbes present in the body. Suppose the number of disease causing microbes are present in the body, then it will not possible that the person is showing the symptom of that particular disease. If the number of the disease causing microbes are very less, then maybe the symptoms will be very minor, or the person may not show the symptoms, right? But if the number of these microbes will be very high, then very severe symptoms can be shown. So this is what it is said. The severity of any disease manifestations are majorly depend on the number of microbes. If it is less, then the manifestations may be minor or unnoticed, right? But if it is large, then that disease can be severe enough to be life-threatening. Person may get die because of this, right? So in this case, immune system is a major factor that determines the number of microbes surviving in the body. Immune system is strong, means the less number of microbes will survive in the body. Majority of the microbes will get killed by our immune system. And if immune system is weak, then the number of microbes will automatically get increased, right? So immune system is one of the major factor which decide the number of microbes surviving in the body, and the number of microbes decides or shows the manifestations of the disease, right? next point is principles of a treatment, right? Now the principles of treatment means if any person is suffering from any disease, then we know that the person is diseased, not well, not healthy. Now we need to cure that disease, right? So for that we need to treat that disease. So to cure that disease, whatever the treatment we are giving, right? So that will be comes in the next part, that is the treatment. Now there are two principles are there of the treatment. So one is that there are two ways to treat an infectious disease. One would be reduce the effects of the disease and the other to kill the cause of the disease. Means in this we will just reduce the effect, right? Whatever the effects are there, that will try to reduce. For example, suppose due to any viral infection, the person is having a very high fever, right? Body temperature is very high and the doctor gives paracetamol. All of you are also taking, maybe whenever there is a fever you are taking paracetamol, right? So whenever we take paracetamol, then is that paracetamol kill that virus which because of which the person is suffering a high fever? No, that paracetamol will just reduce your body temperature, right? Means what? The viral infection symptom is high fever. Now this is the treatment, means giving paracetamol or taking paracetamol is a kind of treatment in which we have reduced the symptom. Symptom is a high fever. We have just lowered the body temperature, means symptoms are reduced, right? So we think that then we are okay, now the disease is cured, right? But in this treatment we are not killing microorganisms, right? In this treatment we are not killing microorganisms. And the second way of treatment is there we are killing the cause of the disease. Means the microorganism which is responsible for causing a disease, to that microbes only we kill completely, right? So this is the second way of treatment. Same it is given. The first first treatment is there, that will reduce the symptoms, right? And second treatment is there, example is given. Now you can see here the first way of treatment is there where the effects of the disease can be reduced, right? So here the treatment is provided that will reduce the symptoms. Example is given that we are taking a medicine that will bring down a fever, right? Or reduce pain. Eating painkiller is there, means that is reducing your pain, but they are not killing the cause of a pain. Loose motion is there, they will control the loose motion, but they are not killing the cause of a loose motion, right? Whenever weakness is there, we are taking the bed rest, so we will conserve our energy and we will try to recover the fast. But these medicines help us to reduce the symptoms of a disease. The second kind of a treatment is there, that is symptoms directed treatment. Itself will not make the infecting microbes go away and the disease will not be cured, right? In this first treatment, as it is symptoms directed, they will just reduce the symptoms and microbes will not be going away, not be killed, right? So this disease is not completely cured, right? If we want to cure the disease completely, then we need to kill off the microbes, right? So this is what the next way, that use the medicine to kill the microbes, right? So this is the second way of treatment. Microbes can be classified into different categories. They are virus, bacteria, fungi and protozoa. Different types of microbes are there, right? Now if you will see them, every microorganisms don't have the same biochemical process. All the viruses will have their biochemical process maybe similar to each other. All the bacteria will have their life processes similar with each other. But the bacteria and virus will not have the common life processes or more sharing life processes. They will definitely have their life processes different from each other. So the two different groups will not share their life processes with the other group. Pathways for the synthesis of new substances or the respiration is there, that will be different for different group. Example is given here. Take an example. Our cells may make a new substance by mechanism different from that used by a bacteria. Means our life process is different and bacteria's life process is different. Maybe the product is the same, but the way of making is there, pathway is there, that is the different. We have to find a drug that blocks the bacterial synthesis pathway without affecting our own pathway. Yes, if we want to kill the bacteria, then we have to see that the life process is there of the bacteria need to be blocked without affecting our life pathway, right? So in this way, if the life processes are different in two different groups, then we can block any one organism's pathway by using drug, and in this way it will be effective to kill that group of microorganisms. Example is given here of the antibiotics, right? This antibiotics, all of you know also antibiotics, maybe all of you are taking. They are the drugs that kills the protozoa such as malarial parasite, right? Or even they kill the bacteria also. Now, this is what we have learned here, that the life processes of the one group are more majoritarily common, but they are not sharing their life processes with the other group, right? And this is what the reason that antiviral medicines, making antiviral medicine is harder than making antibacterial medicines, right? So this question will be asked in the exam for 2 marks. Why it is easy to make the antibacterial medicines and it is difficult to make the antiviral medicine. Now you know that the bacteria and the virus, two different categories are there. Even their life processes are different. But in case of virus, if you will see, virus is the microorganism which lives in the host cell and shares host biochemical pathways, host machinery to synthesize his own protein, right? Means what? As the virus using host machinery, whatever the further process is there, it is similar with the host one, right? So very few processes are there which are different and own of a virus, right? Not sharing with the host. So it is very difficult to make a antiviral drug. But in case of a bacteria, bacteria have its different life processes and human cells or animal cells have their own different life processes. As there much more difference is there, we can easily block any pathway which will not impact on the human cells or the body, right? But in this is not possible in the virus. That's why making antiviral drug is harder than making antibacterial drug, right? Given here answer, 2 marks or 3 marks question will ask. Viruses have few biochemical mechanisms of their own. They enter our cells and use our machinery for their life processes. This means that there are relatively few virus specific targets to aim at, right? Despite this limitation, there are now effective antiviral drugs, but it is possible that in very few disease causing in very few diseases it is possible, and this is what one more the reason that we are not getting drug against the HIV infection, and even for the COVID-19 also the scientists are not able to prepare vaccines, right? So today we have seen about the tissue specific and organ specific manifestations. In that, the entry of the microorganisms, point of entry of microorganisms will decide the symptoms, right? And based on that the doctor will diagnose the which tissue and organ is infected, and based on that the treatment will be given to cure that disease, right? So this we have seen. The next point we have seen that the treatment, two ways of treatment is there. One way that you are reducing the symptoms only, not the killing cause of the disease. And second way of treatment is that you are killing the cause of the disease, means that disease will be completely cured. But in first treatment, in first way of treatment, where we are just reducing the symptoms, here the disease is not completely cured, right? Only the symptoms are reduced to give little bit comfort to the patient. So this is explained well with the example. Go through these all points, right? And prepare well. All these points are important. Complete your notes and send me the pics. If you have any doubt, write in comments. If not, then like the video, right? All the best.